let's talk about mat placement. Now you might be thinking, do I even need a yoga mat? Aren't I going to be in the air the whole time? And the answer is that for Unnata Aerial Yoga classes, we actually do use the floor quite a bit, in addition to dangling you off of the ground. But even if we didn't, even if it was exclusively 100% of the time you're in the hammock or on the hammock, the thing is the teacher will frequently use descriptions or on the mat, or use the mat to help orient you in space and to help describe where and what you'll be doing next. So let's take a look at where you want to place your mat as a result. As you can see, I've placed down a standard yoga mat underneath the hammock, and about half of the mat is behind the hammock, and about half of the mat is in front of the hammock. So we've placed it in the middle. I'll change the mat where it's facing to the camera so you can see that when I place it down under the hammock here, I'm also trying to place the mat down so that about half of the mat is to the right of the hammock and half is to the left. And that way the mat is right in the center, right in the middle, front to back, middle, right to left. That's how you want to place your mat. And when I or whoever you're taking class with gives you instructions, they're going to be considering that placement to help guide you. Now underneath this standard yoga mat, I have a circular yoga mat, which I use for the classes that I teach that are live stream or video class. So it's basically something that's online. And the reason for that is because your vision or your view, how much you can see, is a little limited when it's in 2 dimensions and you're looking at a screen, as opposed to 3 dimensions when you're taking a class live. So I have found that for most things, a side view for you is where you get to see the best of what's going on and movement through space. So that's most of the time what I'm going to be doing. But every once in a while I want to show you a detail, or you can't see like what's going on in between the 2 sides of the hammock. My hand could be behind the hammock 100%, or it could be in between the 2 sides here. So I'll change my facing, and that means that you can see a little bit better this way. The thing is that when I do that, I'm not necessarily trying to actually turn my placement in space for me as someone who's doing the class, but I'm just trying to give the viewer, someone who's taking the class, a better view of something I want them to see. So with the circular mat, it makes it a little less confusing for your brain because it looks the same this way, right? I have the same amount of distance away from the plumb line and mat under my feet and behind my back as I do when I'm facing this way. In addition, with this particular mat, I've got a nice big red lotus flower circle on the plumb line. So it makes it a little easier for the viewer to see, how far away from the plumb line I am, or where a hand or a foot is placed in comparison to the plumb line. And there you go. That is a little orientation on how to position your mat, both for live classes, but also what's going to happen if you happen to take an online class.